The longest poem by far in this book is a poem. Even if you don't buy the book, it's a poem. If you go to my website and search for the title, The Tao of 9/11, it's actually being published in 3 different versions online. And this is the final version. And it's far too long to read all of. I'm going to read the beginning, which takes place in China, and then read just one excerpt from the middle, the sort of thing that is coming through my mind, and then read the close. The Tao of 9/11 is on page 62, but I'm going to jump. At the first emperor's tomb, the Chinese People's Republic shows you a preliminary movie in which this monument of empire is seen through the eyes of peasants who rose up in rebellion and smashed the terracotta statues we have come so far to see. I tried asking whether the government is more in favor of the tomb or of its being smashed. The guide answered, both. We think the Tao of history contains both the bright yang of order and the dark yin of revolt. So I said, would that mean that in history right now, the yin is the Falun Gong? A short silence. Then, you must understand that in China, there are some things we do not think about. I know why I'm remembering this. There are things we don't think about in America. Things I don't want to think about myself. And then the next 12 pages are things which I have, in fact, been repressing and don't want to think about. But they start coming out in a great splurge, and I'm going to pick up now on page 72. When I remember 1987, when I was in Washington, trying to collect data about Contra and drugs to give to Senator Kerry, who was having a series of hearings on this very subject. And I met a very strange man, a former mercenary and a former self-admitted murderer called Jack Terrell, quite a famous man in his way. So I'm starting at the bottom of 72. It is hard to know whom to trust, as I learned back east at a center researching for Senator Kerry's investigation into Contra support operations and drugs. I think of the secret memo in 2 copies I had my secretary, a student volunteer, hand deliver from the center to Brian Barger and Bob Parry, who phoned back furious, "Don't write these things down in Washington." And somehow Secord's lawyer got it to file as a court exhibit in the Christic case. And what about Jack Terrell at our center? A man intimate with the mercenary community, who knew about the military coup in Fiji that night before anyone in the press. Jack was shown to have told the truth about the Contra cocaine operation disguised by imports of frozen fish in the memo prepared for Senator Kerry, which was stolen for the Reagan Justice Department, after which Oliver North called Terrell a terrorist threat, and our center was put under FBI surveillance. So later, when Jack said he wanted to bring his wife to the United States from the Philippines, I, knowing his childhood story of how when 14 he had stolen a car and on the instruction of his father was sentenced to 18 years in an adult prison, I gave him the money he needed to return airfare to Manila. After which a call came from the center, why did you, this is to me, I heard this on the phone, why did you finance Terrell's scheme to destroy Manglapis? Now Manglapis was somebody from my center who I knew and who was running for president of the Philippines, and Terrell brought him down. So they wanted to know why I paid for his plane ticket. I don't blame them at all. Anyway, to destroy Manglapis, who had been expected to succeed Cory Aquino in the Philippines. In this way, my naive goodwill implicated me in the defeat of the one candidate committed to removing the U.S. military bases. It is a dilemma. Part of me needs to agree with the left that we have to wake up, America, that knowledge will make us free, that truth of Yang which unites us in thinking together, even though these truths of darkness have been known to destroy those who have published them, and I myself can share with no one except those who, like myself, have become distanced from the crowd, so that I hate to go on transmitting the testimony of witnesses like Steve Carr, who predicted correctly that they would be murdered, and the truth of Yin, that is always gentle, like water flowing to the lowest places. This is Tao Te Ching. The Tao where the soft and gentle overcome the hard and strong, because truth being, and this now is Gandhi, the truth being that which is can never be destroyed, and reminds us that America, the land of nonviolence and violence, snake handlers, peace workers, baseball movies, sweat lodges, genealogists, and stock car races, is undefinable. From Whitman's hopes for the unwritten to the New Yorker poets with a toad in their lawnmower or snake in their burning brush pile. Uncertain as always whether this republic is past saving or whether some of us still tread the perilous path of the future, part of me just meditates on the new and more flourishing wildlife that is improving Point Reyes 10 years after the Mount Vision fire. From the glories of the Tang dynasty, I recall only one date, the year the usurper An Lushan drove both Wang Wei and Du Fu far from the corrupt court into the mountains, where, for the first time, they were free to write the only poems we remember.